My friends, let's talk Russians. Let's talk Russian collusion. Has nothing to do with Donald Trump, though. Welcome back to Real Truth. I am Howard Riell. It's been 23 hours since we last spoke. Let's talk Russian collusion. Item from former Real Truth guest Jerome Corsi writing in InfoWars. I quote, exactly why Secretary of State Hillary Clinton ordered FBI Director Robert Mueller to make a secret airplane trip to Russia on September 21, 2009 to return a sample of uranium that had been seized in a CIA sting operation in the Republic of Georgia nearly 4 years earlier remains so shrouded in mystery. The cable revealed by WikiLeaks exposing the clandestine mission demands further investigation. Particularly troubling in Clinton's diplomatic cable of August 17, 2009, detailing Mueller's clandestine mission, is the detail that appropriate arrangements, quote, need to be made to ensure that the transfer of the material is conducted at the airport plainside upon the arrival of the director's, Mueller's, aircraft, unquote. Very simple question, my friends. What the hell was going on with Hillary Clinton and the Russians? The Democrats have been screaming Russian collusion for a year. They need to look to their own. I've said before, Hillary Clinton is the filthiest, most disgusting, sleaziest, most dishonest politician on the national level that I can remember in my lifetime. She needs to be in a jail cell. Item from IJR.com. The University of Central Florida Student Government Association's position of diversity chair has been given to a student who once posted on social media, quote, Trump supporters are not welcome on our campus. Stop! I don't know who this student is, but he or she has a bright future in the Democrat Party where hypocrisy is rewarded. In fact, it's the ante. You want to play ball in the Democrat pool hall? You better be a hypocrite and a liar. And this University of Southern Florida, Central Florida student appears to be on the right track. We are going to come back. I got some videos, but you know, my friends, I've been getting calls. We've been getting calls that you're not hearing all the videos. I don't understand why. When I select a video to play on my show, I only select those that have excellent sound quality. I hear every word they're saying. When I watch the YouTube videos afterwards, some of the videos come out clear and crisp, and others don't. And I simply don't have the electronic know-how to understand why. And so, I'll be playing fewer videos. I'll be playing shorter video clips, which means you're going to be hearing my voice more than you have in quite some time. Which brings up the old adage, be careful what you ask for, because you might get it. It's Tuesday. It's Tisha B'Av. It's Real Truth. We'll be back.
This is Michael, Control. The American Freedom Network needs your advice. Please call 205-6245. That's 1-800-205-6245 to make your donation. Or send a check or the money over to P.O. Box 1750, Johnstown, Colorado, 80534. That's P.O. Box 1750, Johnstown, Colorado, 80534. God bless keep the voice of truth and freedom on the air. Thank you.
Choice City Electric and Fort Collins reminds listeners, out of sight should not mean out of mind. Let's remember our brave men and women of the military by sending care packages to them while they are away. You need not have a specific soldier in mind to help. Just call your local veterans organization. This message is from Choice City Electric in Fort Collins, your electrical and retrofit specialist. Visit them online or call 970-493-4077. That's 970-493-4077.
Beloved, do not believe every spirit, but test the spirits, whether they are of God, because many false prophets have gone into the world. By this you will know the Spirit of God. Every spirit that confesses that Yeshua, Jesus, has come in the flesh is of God, and every spirit that does not confess that Yeshua, Jesus, has come in the flesh is not of God. And this is the spirit of Antichrist, which you have already heard was coming and is now already in the world. 1 John 4:1.
There's a very grave danger, my friends. Let's talk about it. By the way, before we get to the danger, I know you're going to look at my blog, personalprofit.wordpress.com. Profit is in biblical profit. Personalprofit.wordpress.com. Check it out. Let me know what you think. Now, there's a very, very serious danger. And I'm going to let Rush Limbaugh on this video explain it to you. Republicans voting down the repeal of Obamacare tells Rush and tells me and should tell you the Republicans don't care what the voters want. And I can't imagine anything more dangerous than that. Here's Rush Limbaugh. Rush, get back to what you were just saying. My friends, the fact that the number one mission of a politician being to get elected, being to raise money so he can get reelected, means that politicians are first and foremost whores. And that's all they are, which means it's all the more important for us to support the one politician, the top politician, who is not a whore and not a politician, but a billionaire businessman and a patriot. Item from InfoWars. According to Trump confidant Roger Stone, Disgraced Debbie Wasserman Schultz aide Imran Awan was with former DNC staffer Seth Rich on the night of his murder. Rich was murdered in an upscale area of Washington, D.C. on July 10th last year, but the killer or killers didn't steal anything from the victim, rendering the police's explanation that the incident was a robbery gone wrong doubtful. InfoWars reported on the questions surrounding Seth Rich's murder multiple times back in August last year, including how there was around an hour and a half of unaccounted for time between Rich leaving a bar and being killed. Brad Bauman, a crisis communications manager for the Democratic Party, was hired by Rich's family to act as their spokesman. Bauman's first action was to insist that people stop questioning the unsolved circumstances behind Rich's murder. Now, Trump confidant Roger Stone claims that Imran Awan, Florida Democrat-Republican Representative Debbie Wasserman Schultz's information technology administrator, was with Seth Rich before he was murdered. Unquote. My friends, if this is true, that would certainly appear to be a good deal of smoke. And what do you generally find where there's smoke? Item from Breitbart: the number of children subjected to or fearing forced marriage being offered assistance by the United Kingdom's leading children's charity has hit a record level, new data has revealed. The National Society for the Prevention of Cruelty to Children now provides 3 times more counseling sessions than they did 5 years ago. Some of these victims were as young as 13, and they're frequently threatened with violence and emotional blackmail, pressuring them to marry older men they may never have met. Childline, the 24-year-old counseling hotline for children provided by NSPCC, has experienced more children than ever calling with fears over forced marriage. Unquote. My friends, I will tell you what this article doesn't. I will tell you what Breitbart didn't tell you. All these girls who feel they're about to be forced into a marriage, these are Muslim girls being married off to Muslim men. Now, if you're asking, well, how could it happen in the United Kingdom? It's not a Muslim country. I'm going to ask you to wake the hell up. The United Kingdom is a Muslim country. In miniature at this point. But every day it gets to be more and more and more of a Muslim country, and so you will not see fewer, but you will see more young girls being railroaded into marriages, because that's what Islam does. We'll take a break. Don't touch that dial.
And the Word became flesh and dwelt among us, and we beheld his glory, the glory as of the only begotten of the Father, full of grace and truth. John bore witness of him and cried out, saying, This was he of whom I said, He who comes after me is preferred before me, for he was before me. The Gospel of John, chapter 1, verse 14 and 15. We hold these truths to be self-evident, that all men are created equal, that they are endowed by their Creator with certain unalienable rights, that among these are life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness, that to secure these rights, governments are instituted among men, deriving their just power from the consent of the governed. This is the America News Network.
Firefighters need we thank them for doing a great job keeping our air, live, shop, and raise a family. We realize their job is dangerous. That's not safe. This message comes from the uniform people treating. Call 352-2233. They're on the air because they care. The uniform people in Greeley. Piccolo's restaurant in Denver reminds us that over 750,000 children were reported missing last year. Over 58,000 of these were abducted by non-family members. Keep an eye out for youngsters at play, and if you see anything suspicious, contact the authorities immediately. This message from Piccolo's restaurant in Denver is not only the best Italian and Mexican cuisine, it's the people who care. Give them a call at 303-757-5166. 303-757-5166.
All right, my friends, we're back. Howard Riell, Real Truth. Believe it or not, people are still up in arms about this whole transgenders in the military thing, which in the old days would have been just plain common sense. But nowadays, everything's a controversy. Ann Coulter on the Stuart Varney Show on Fox Business Network. Here we go. My friends, it sounds to me like the head of the Joint Chiefs of Staff needs to be fired. Maybe wrapped on the snout with a rolled-up newspaper and taught a lesson about following orders. Item from Breitbart. Venezuela now teeters on the brink of civil war following a sham election that will turn the country into a socialist dictatorship led by Nicolas Maduro. Over a dozen people were killed over the weekend during voting to elect members of the Constituents Assembly, an illegal parallel legislature made up entirely of socialist supporters of dictator Nicolas Maduro, tasked with rewriting the country's constitution. Without the opposition-held, democratically elected National Assembly, Venezuela will slide into de jure dictatorship after years of what the opposition has alleged has been functional but de facto dictatorship. Unquote. My friends, Venezuela is a toilet. Not surprisingly, it's a toilet because it's got a socialist economy. They can't even feed their own people. They got nothing on the shelves of stores. And if you're a Bernie Sanders supporter, this is what your nitwit candidate would have brought to America. Item from Breitbart. Police in the southern Swedish province of Småland say that at least 4 teenage girls between the ages of 15 and 17 were raped at the Emma Boda festival over the weekend. They also claim hundreds of drug offenses also took place at the event. The police released a statement on their website totaling the various crimes that occurred at the 5-day festival, which ended on Saturday. They say 4 girls between the ages of 15 and 17 were raped, 11 women over the age of 18 were sexually abused, 113 people were reported as possessing drugs, and there were a further 251 reports of individuals consuming drugs. Ua Gunn Westford, spokesman for the South Police Region, said, quote, "There are 6 suspects for sexual attacks and 1 for rape," unquote, but did not identify any of the suspects or describe their backgrounds. Unquote. That last part, my friends, is the most important part because it tells you about the fake news and the lying of the media. I'll tell you their backgrounds. They were Muslims. Shocked? Item from Breitbart. Winners of next year's MTV Video Music Awards won't be going home with the network's iconic Moon Man statue. Instead, they'll be hoisting a moon person figure instead. It's all part of the network's push towards greater inclusion of the LGBT and gender non-conforming communities. MTV President Chris McCarthy told the New York Times in an interview on Sunday. Why should it be a man, McCarthy asked. It could be a man, could be a woman, could be transgender, could be nonconformist. Unquote. Now, my friends, I've never met MTV President Chris McCarthy. Don't even know if it's a man or a woman. Let me simply say this. Chris McCarthy is a moron. A liberal moron. And by the way, if Chris McCarthy is a man, could I say he, or would that be racist also? Item, Senator John McCain's war hero past and his recent illness should not stop people from pointing out that the politician is, quote, making a schmuck out of himself, unquote, contended Jackie Mason during a radio interview broadcast last night. He was speaking during his regular segment on this reporter's talk radio program, Aaron Klein Investigative Radio, unquote. My friends, you recognize the name Aaron Klein, former guest here on Real Truth. Jackie Mason is correct to say John McCain is a schmuck. And because he single-handedly torpedoed Obamacare, its repeal and replace, I'm all for sending Mr. McCain back to Vietnam. Item from Breitbart. Dan Gaynor, Vice President, Business and Culture at the Media Research Center, spoke with Breitbart News Daily SiriusXM host Alex Marlow on Monday about various issues, including the media's ignoring of the Debbie Wasserman Schultz IT staffer scandal. Gaynor's latest item at FoxNews.com reads, quote, watching news outlets go out of their way to hide a potentially huge Democratic scandal is almost funny. So-called journalists are too busy covering presidential tweets to report on a topic that might embarrass their friends. Welcome to the Imran Awan Debbie Wasserman Schultz scandal of CompuGrab, as I like to call it. Awan was the top IT aide to Democrat Representative Debbie Wasserman Schultz. The FBI reportedly seized smashed computer hard drives from his home. He was arrested trying to flee to Pakistan after wiring almost $300,000 to the country, according to the Daily Caller, which has owned the story because it does actual news reporting. Gaynor said on Monday, quote, "This is a story the press would generally like, but instead when it came out when he was arrested, ABC and NBC ignored it completely in the first 24 hours. Gaynor went on to say, quote, "CBS covered it for all of 37 seconds. And of course ended the story with their famous catchphrase, anti-Muslim bigotry, because that's the allegation from his lawyer." The Washington Post did the story and took 7 paragraphs before they got to the point of actually mentioning his connection to Democrats. So this is a story that the major press doesn't want out there. Unquote. My friends, what the major media is saying to us is this. You are a schmuck. I'm not here to educate or inform you. I'm here to pad my own paycheck. That's the major media, my friend. So tell me, you're going to continue to listen to the major media? Read the major media? Watch the major media? If your answer was yes, seek help. Item from the Washington Times. A knife attack by an Islamist fanatic at the border crossing between Spain and Morocco last week has highlighted concerns about terrorists infiltrating among the hordes of migrants who relentlessly press up against the flimsy barriers of Europe's 2 land borders with Africa. In a recurring pattern of Islamic State-inspired violence seen in Israel, Europe and the U.S., a Moroccan national shouting Allahu Akbar stabbed a Spanish police officer before being overpowered on Tuesday along the entrance to Spain's North African enclave of Melilla. Just 240 miles to the west, hundreds of migrants threaten to force their way into Ceuta, Spain's other holding on Africa's Mediterranean coast. The pressures are increasing as Madrid and other European capitals struggle to deal with a surge in migrants fleeing wars and seeking economic opportunity. Unquote. Shout out to the migrants. If there are wars going on in your country, fight them. Win them. Create a government to your liking. Don't make your problems our problems, even if we do, let's be fair, have liberal morons here who are letting you do it. Item from InfoWars. A senior Arizona congressman is calling on Robert Mueller, special counsel for the Justice Department's investigation into Russia's election meddling, to resign. Representative Trent Franks, a Republican who sits on the House Judiciary Committee, said in a statement on Tuesday, that's today, that Mueller is in violation of the law that prohibits Mueller from serving as a special counsel if he has a conflict of interest. Mueller and former FBI Director James Comey have been longtime allies dating back to 2003 when the men both worked in Washington. Mueller is the FBI Director and Comey is Deputy Attorney General. Franks cited the pair's relationship as a reason for Mueller to be disqualified from the probe. Quote, Bob Mueller is in clear violation of federal code and must resign to maintain the integrity of the investigation into alleged Russia ties, Franks said. Those who worked under them have attested that he and Jim Comey possess a close relationship, and they've delivered on record statements effusing praise on one another. We'll take a break, my friends. Go where? Go nowhere. Stick around.
Animal House Taxidermy in Brighton would like to take this time to say thank you to all the brave men and women in the armed forces who have served our country. Business owners, consider hiring veterans, our most dependable resource. And to those heroes back home from missions abroad, know that your dedication, selflessness, and courage are appreciated. May God bless America. This message is from Animal House Taxidermy in Brighton, proud to salute the fighting forces of our country.
This is Michael, Control American. The American Freedom Network needs your help. Please call 1-800-205-6445 to make your donation. Or send a check for the money with the PO Box 1750, Johnstown, Colorado 80534. PO Box 1750, Johnstown, Colorado 80534. Help us keep the word truth and freedom on the air. Thank you.
Now this is the testimony of John when the Jews sent priests and Levites from Jerusalem to ask him, "Who are you?" He confessed and did not deny, but confessed, "I am Gospel of John, chapter 1, verse 19 through 21.
The associates at your 24-hour Walmart Supercenter in Lafayette remind you, no one anywhere is more noble, righteous, selfless, or courageous than our United States Armed Forces. These brave men and women and their families foot the bill for our freedom every day. Send a military care package today to let them know that they are in our hearts and our prayers and our thoughts. This message is from the associates at your 24-hour Walmart Supercenter on Highway 287 in Lafayette. They're on the air because they care.
Elizabeth Locker Plan and Elizabeth reminds our listeners that the drug problem is well documented. We know our kids will be approached at early age. We want to applaud the youngsters in our community who have had the strength to say no to drugs. They provide examples to their peers and families to be the best they can be. As promoted at the Locker Plant, located at 366 Grand Street in Elizabeth, serving our area since 1943 and specializing in naturalized HB and pork and complete custom process. Call 303-688-2240. That's 303-688-2240. We, the people of the United States, in order to form a more perfect union, establish justice, ensure domestic tranquility, provide for the common defense, promote the general welfare, and secure the blessings of liberty to ourselves and our posterity, do ordain and establish this Constitution for the United States of America.
Guys, you know the name Corey Lewandowski? Of course you do. Corey Lewandowski was the first campaign manager for Donald Trump. He continues to be a Trump administration insider. Here he is being interviewed yesterday on the Laura Ingraham show. Let's listen in. Corey Lewandowski is correct. I'm going to stop the video there. The Obama people are, almost by definition, traitors. They hate the United States of America. They love Barack Obama, who hates the United States, and so they are going to serve, and they have been serving for over 6 months now, as impediments to the Trump agenda, which is the life-saving agenda for this country. And I'm with him. I'm with Corey Lewandowski in the opinion that Trump is at fault for not clearing house with these bastards the first day in office. Should have brought in new people. It's true, if the chair was empty, then nobody would be pushing the agenda forward, but at the same time, no one would be pushing it backward either. Item from Breitbart. President Donald Trump's outgoing Chief of Staff Reince Priebus told Breitbart News on Saturday that the president's amazing work during his first few months in office includes signing a number of bills into law. I could tick off an entire 10-20 minutes of facts of what he's accomplished and the amazing amount of work he's done, Priebus said. The amount of bills he signed, more than any other president in the last 50 years. Priebus, whose departure from the White House was announced on Friday night, also said Trump is making a huge impact on federal judgeships, with some 27 replaced since the president took office, and perhaps one of the nation's biggest wins, Priebus said, the seating of Neil Gorsuch on the U.S. Supreme Court. Quote, my friends, I am waiting for Donald Trump to have his second opportunity to fill a seat on the Supreme Court. Ruth Bader Ginsburg is old, not well. She needs to resign or at the very least hurl herself off a roof and make room for someone who will do something good for America, for a change. Ruth Bader Ginsburg has been an absolute disaster for this country. She needs to go. As a matter of fact, there are a couple of other female Supreme Court justices on there who are also liberal and also detriments to this country. They should also think about resigning. I think we're coming up on a commercial. I can't really hear, but if we are, then I can promise you when I come back, I'm going to have, let's see, Rush Limbaugh is going to come back on the show. I'm going to have more news. We're going to have lots of fun. Maybe we'll have a pillow fight at the end. Here we go. There's the commercial break. All right, guys, I'll be right back.
have all received, and grace for grace. For the law was given through Moses, but grace and truth came through Yeshua HaMashiach, Jesus the Christ. No one has seen God at any time. The only begotten Son, who is in the bosom of the Father, he has declared him. The Gospel of John, chapter 1, verse 16. Article 4. The right of the people to be secure in their persons, houses, papers, and effects against unreasonable searches and seizures shall not be violated, and no warrant shall be issued but upon probable cause, supported by oath or affirmation, and particularly describing the places to be searched and the persons or things to be seized. If catastrophe struck, would your family be prepared? Are you confident you wouldn't react in a panic? Is there one place to get all of your emergency supplies? Ferris Survival encourages you to have confidence through preparation, not panic through crisis. Ferris Survival, located at 3366 South Broadway, is a professional, reputable, full-service business providing quality, realistic preparedness supplies at an affordable price. Go online, stop by, or call 303-781-0343. Ferris Survival.
American Window Tinting Incorporated in Franktown reminds parents, keep an eye on your child while shopping. Children tend to stray or become lost. This poses an opportunity for a would-be abductor. Please make every effort to keep track of your little ones at all times. If you have information regarding a lost child, call local authorities at once. This message is from American Window Tinting Incorporated in Franktown. For residential or commercial window tinting, call 303-263-4228.
All right, my friends, welcome back. Rush Limbaugh said he wants to weigh in one more time. Here he is talking about Jared Kushner and the diplomatic solution to the Middle East problems. Here we go.
Diplomats, and he's way ahead.
Stop. Unfortunately, Trump, Russia's wrong. Unfortunately, Israelis are only too glad to surrender. Time and time and time and time again. Giving up land, signing away more land, giving up rights, freeing Palestinian prisoners. Russia mischaracterizes what's going on in Israel. It's not the Palestinians and the Jews hating each other. It's the Palestinians hating the Jews and the Jews having to defend themselves. That's what it is. So Russia's got it wrong. Doesn't happen often, but it happens. The Israelis have been only too happy to negotiate a peace settlement, and they've been trying for decades. It's the Palestinians, the murderers, the terrorists, the animals, who won't negotiate a real peace treaty. They won't negotiate in good faith. They don't want a peace treaty, which is why they must be crushed. Get it? Let's hear what else Russia has to say for, 2 minutes. He's correct. It gets solved with one side defeating the other. The Israelis could easily put down the Palestinians. They don't want to because they're playing to international public opinion. As if that's ever been on the side of the Jews. If Israel would take my advice, which I've been offering for almost 30 years, they would order the Palestinians out. Some Palestinians would leave. Problem solved. Others would refuse to leave and they would need to be put out by force. Others would fight and they would need to be killed. That's how the planet works. Don't complain to me. I didn't create it. But that's how you have peace and security. That's how you end terrorism. Israel doesn't want to do that. Europe doesn't want to do that. Canada doesn't want to do it. And worst of all, America doesn't want to solve its problem with Islam. It wants to keep kicking the can down the road, believing against all logic, all experience, that somehow everything will be okay. They'll come around. They'll be all right. Schmucks. Not going to happen. More innocent men, women, and yes, children will continue to be sacrificed on this altar of ridiculousness that we can somehow negotiate a peace with the Quran. Hasn't happened, isn't going to happen. The way you defeat Islam is by crushing Islam, by quarantining Islam, by understanding Islam. Let's take a break, and we'll come back and wrap it up, my friends. I got more for you.
Beloved, do not believe every spirit, but test the spirits, whether they are of God, because many false prophets have gone into the world. By this you will know the Spirit of God. Every spirit that confesses that Yeshua, Jesus, has come in the flesh is of God, and every spirit that does not confess that Yeshua, Jesus, has come in the flesh is not of God. And this is the spirit of Antichrist, which you have already heard was coming and is now already in the world. 1 John 4:1.
No state shall enter into any treaty, alliance, or confederation, grant letters of marque or reprisal, coin money, emit bills of credit, make anything but gold and silver coin a tender in payment of debts, pass any bill of attainder, ex post facto law, or law impairing the obligation of contracts, or grant any title of nobility. Article 1, Section 10.
Set the uniform people in Greeley, police, firefighters, and our. We thank them for doing a great job keeping our area live, shop, and raise the family. We realize that job is dangerous. This message is from Sept, uniform people in Greeley. Call 352-2233. They're on the air because they care. And Sept, the uniform people in Greeley. Piccolo's restaurant in Denver reminds us that over 750,000 children were reported missing last year. Over 58,000 of these were abducted by non-family members. Keep an eye out for youngsters at play, and if you see anything suspicious, contact the authorities immediately. This message from Piccolo's restaurant in Denver is not only the best Italian and Mexican cuisine, it's the people who care. Give them a call at 357-5166. 303-757-5166. Piccolo.
Item from the Economic Collapse blog: by destroying the last chance Republicans in the Senate had to repeal Obamacare, John McCain has ensured he will go down in history as a backstabbing traitor who cared nothing for true conservative values. For decades, rhinos like McCain have promised to uphold conservative values while campaigning, but once they've gotten in office, they've betrayed us over and over again. How much more are we going to take before we say enough is enough? I hope you'll join me in my efforts to remove every rhino from Congress. This is Michael Snyder writing, of course, former guest here on Real Truth. What John McCain has just done should make all of us absolutely sick. Thanks to him, Obamacare is going to remain the law of the land for the foreseeable future, even though the Republicans have control of the White House, the Senate, and the House of Representatives. If I go to Washington, I'm going to declare war on rhinos like McCain, but the only way that will be possible is if thousands of good conservatives help fund this campaign. So far, my campaign has created an enormous amount of buzz all over the state, but the only way we're going to be able to capitalize on all that buzz is if you stand with me. Unquote. My friends, Michael Snyder is running for office. I think he's great. If you can support him in any way, shape, or form, get busy with his campaign, please do so. He gets the Howard Riell seal of approval. Item from Dinesh D'Souza: the notion that Hitler learned anything at all, from the Democratic Party here in the U.S. seems on the face of it surprising, if not incredible. In reality, Hitler learned a great deal from the Democrats and from American progressives. He got some of his core policy strategies from them. Moreover, progressives of the time recognized their influence on Hitler and were proud of that fact. Why then haven't we previously heard a word about this? Why isn't it mentioned in any of the history of the textbooks? How come no one in the media ever talks about this? Movies and documentaries about Hitler are notably silent on the topic. The reason, of course, is that we are victims of the big lie. The big lie, as Hitler himself once noted, is a lie so big it's difficult to get one's head around it. People are accustomed to small lies, which is why they can detect them. This, however, is a lie so big it doesn't merely conceal the close connection between Hitler and the left. It also pretends that Hitler was a right-winger and that his true American descendants are Trump and the Republican Party. Big lies don't just require gullible people. They also require powerful cultural institutions like academia, Hollywood, and the media to help sustain them. Progressive Democrats dominate these institutions, which is why they've been able to get away with a big lie like this one. They have not merely covered their tracks, they virtually foisted the fascist label onto the political right. The real fascists, however, know that they were on the political left. Mussolini, the original fascist leader who came to power a decade before Hitler, was a Marxist who saw fascism as the most effective way to implement socialism. Hitler was so committed to socialism, he changed the name of the German Workers' Party to the National Socialist German Workers' Party. As historian Anthony James Greger points out, all the original founders of fascism in Italy, in Germany, England, France, were socialists and leftists. Unquote. My friends, Dinesh D'Souza has a new book out, or one that's about to come out, about Hitler and the left. My recommendation is that you get your hands on that book. You read it thoroughly, you share it, you discuss it, and then you act on it. You act on it by vowing never, ever, ever to vote for a Democrat again. Ever. I'll be back tomorrow, my friends, with more real truth. If you're fasting, have a good remainder of your fast. Hasta lumbago.